Hello, I'm Nicole Knox, and this is my final presentation for my international internship course here in Prague. Just a quick overview about what this presentation will encompass. First, I'm going to quickly introduce you to what my internship was here, and then I'm going to go through the eight NACE competencies that we went over in class and just talk a little bit about my experience with those competencies and what I learned over the course of my internship. First, just a quick review. I worked at the DSC gallery and I thought it was a really enriching, great experience. And I gained a lot of very industry specific knowledge and just learned so much just by going to a gallery every day and seeing how it's run and learning about those types of industry norms. And not only was it great just working in a gallery, but I also learned a lot from it being a international gallery and working here in Prague, which is very closely connected to the NACE competencies. So to get into the meat of it, the first competency that we covered in this course was career and self-development, which NACE defines proficiency in as the ability to proactively develop oneself and one's career through continual personal and professional learning, awareness of one's strengths and weaknesses, navigation of career opportunities, and networking to build relationships within and without one's organization. So in my experience, this is one competency that I feel like was really impactful and that I just thought about a lot over the course of my internship. I really did a lot of introspection on future career opportunities, but through working at the DSC, because all my prior experience was really with more nonprofit industries, like working in a classroom, working in the education department of a public museum, or working at my university's art museum. So this was really the first for-profit job that I had, and it really opened up just future career opportunities that into realms that I never considered before, which was really nice. And just going into the gallery every day, it really made me feel like I was capable of potentially working in this industry, which I didn't really consider before. Some other things that I noticed was that going into this experience, I was really anxious about the potential of maybe having to network a little bit because I just had kind of a bad impression of it going into it, which I know it isn't all bad. But in my experience, it was really natural networking, and it wasn't networking is not all like, internship fairs and all that stuff. And I also thought I had gained some really valuable professional experience working there as well. And the second competency was communication, which is the ability to clearly and effectively exchange information, ideas, facts, and perspectives with persons inside and outside of an organization. And in my experience, this is probably the biggest learning curve that I had, but I was able to kind of eventually adapt my communication style to what was more normal. I learned that I talk with a lot of slang and I'm really not used to communicating in a professional manner, like at least verbally, and also be communicating in a way that for someone whose second language is English, that they can understand. Like they will not understand my Californian slang. And I think it's a great skill to learn what to say in situations like that. And I also became a lot more comfortable with just asking questions. I learned that you only have to ask a stupid question once, and I really got over the fear of looking like I didn't know what I was doing, which I feel like that fear of asking questions can be especially prevalent working in a gallery because you don't want to appear like uncultured or like not qualified. But it's better just to ask once, and you never receive judgment for it, and it's better just to learn. I put these two together, critical thinking and professionalism, because I honestly feel like going into this experience, I was pretty well prepared. I practiced a lot of critical thinking just in my time as a student, especially as a history major. all of my writing is really focused on being unbiased and having to compile a bunch of different data and that type of analysis. But obviously, I had to practice it a lot while I was here, just recognizing that people are from different belief systems that I grew up with. And that was a great experience as well. And in regards to professionalism, I think I'm someone who just really values being polite. And it's something that I practice a lot. And I just generally, even going to school, I like dressing well. I think that being 5 minutes early is being on time, and all of that stuff. But this is something that was really interesting to see how different cultures think of professionalism differently, which is something that we talked a lot about in class, which I thought was one of our most interesting conversations. Just learning the lines between maybe Americans are more used to dressing more casually, but they have more boundaries in professional environments than it might be common in Europe. And kind of getting more comfortable with my coworkers and sharing more stories was something that was a lot of fun for me. In regards to teamwork, which NACE defines as the ability to build and maintain collaborative relationships to work effectively towards common goals while appreciating diverse viewpoints and share responsibilities. I was really surprised by how much growth I experienced with this competency. I went into this experience, I think I'm a people person. I'm pretty good at making connections and all of that stuff. But I think just my time being a student, I'm really not used to collaborating with people very often. Most of my work is very individual. And also, I think being thrown into such a new environment, I experienced some almost like social anxiety, asking questions and, not really knowing what I should and should not know and all of that stuff. So yeah, learning how to collaborate with my coworkers was something that was really great. And also it was really nice to see how my coworkers in turn got more comfortable collaborating with me. And especially with the English stuff, I was able to see them feel more comfortable asking me for advice about how to format certain emails and asking me to just edit some text or even explain some articles they were reading that were written in English that they couldn't quite understand. So that was kind of a nice learning curve for, I feel like, everyone involved. Equity and inclusion and technology are the next NACE competencies that we covered. Equity and inclusion for me was something that was very interesting. Coming from California, I feel like we have a very defined interpretation of what equity and inclusion means. And I've done DEI training several times for different jobs that I've had. And it's all very kind of route to me. And coming into this, I feel like I had a very strong opinion on it and interpretation about it. And it was really interesting to see how Czech people interpreted it coming from such a homogenous society just in general, especially because so many of the artists that the gallery works with and represents, their art practice is really based on maybe other people's cultures, and also just like various injustices throughout the world. And it was like a completely new interpretation of things that I had to sit with and learn, but it was a great learning opportunity for me, I think. And it's kind of something that I had to practice stepping back and listening and trying to understand what these artists were saying and how people were interpreting it from their perspective. And in terms of technology, coming into this was also another worry of mine. I was like worried that I wouldn't be able to work different things because I've never worked in a gallery before. I don't know what's expected to me. I don't know how to work Excel. That's not my forte. But I was actually really surprised about how many transferable skills I had being a student. I feel like that wasn't a big learning curve. And in terms of leadership, I feel like this is the NACE competency that I had the most missed potential for growth. And I feel like I definitely should have been more proactive about going after different projects that I want to do and just taking more initiative. My initial feeling was that I really wanted to just kind of blend in and not rock the boat. And I think my background as a student, I'm really good at following directions and meeting deadlines and not doing any more or any less than that. So, I'm definitely disappointed that I didn't get to do some of the projects that I wanted to. And moving forward, I definitely will not make the same mistakes again if I do continue down this career. So overall, I had a great time and I'm very grateful for this experience, most because it really gave me a new career path that I feel empowered to follow now and pursue. So yeah, thank you.